Hello, and thank you for joining us for Recruit and Retain Members 101, presented by the Office of Student Inclusion and Involvement. I'm Holly Anderson. I'm the intern for the OSI office, and I'm excited to go over with you today recruitment and retention. Really, we're going to talk about why are these both so important for student organizations, and then we're going to get into the tips and tricks for both recruitment and retention. So understanding these terms, both work together to enhance a student organization. Being synergistic in nature, think of them like an equation. You can't have one without the other, both parts equal a whole. When you add recruiting to retention, you have a functioning membership and overall growth for your student organization. So breaking them apart into their two different areas, recruitment is as simple as the effort made to generate interest in your organization. Goals of recruitment should be to gain new members, of course, expand your org's efforts, and find new leadership. And then retention can be as simple as the efforts made to become viable and sustainable as an organization. Your goals for retention should be keeping your members engaged and coming back, appreciating the work being done, existing in your org on campus, so the kind of overall existence of your org on campus. When we go into recruitment, you should really, with your student organizations, make sure every member can answer these next 5 questions. So first and foremost, what is your organization? What are you doing? What are you about? What is it that makes you unique? What is the culture? Just kind of everything and anything that ties back into the what of your organization. Number 2 is why join your organization. This is super important for recruitment. If you can't tell others why your organization is great, why it's worthy to join, why it's fun to join, whatever your kind of target is, then how can you expect new members to want to join? Number 3, who will you recruit? So in our last presentation, we talked about it as this can be as simple as the Edgewood College students as just a whole body, but it also could be maybe you're a Greek organization and you are recruiting, you have specific characters you're looking for in your members. Maybe you're looking, you're an honor society, so you are looking for a specific GPA. Maybe you're a department-based organization and you're really looking to recruit to nursing students. We want to be careful and make sure that we're always being open and allowing anyone to join the organization with interest. We do have to make sure that we're staying we're respecting the all identity bases, so religion and any other protected identities, which are like race, veteran status, pregnancy, race, religion. There's a whole list of them. I'm definitely happy to get that information out to you. But we want to make sure that in recruitment, we have a target audience, but we are allowing for anyone with interest in the org to join. So question number 4, when will you recruit? This is really important. Recruitment truly is something that happens year round. You should never really stop recruiting, but there are definitely certain times of the year when that when is really important. And a lot of times students, when they're coming to campus for the first time, is a great opportunity to connect and reach out to them. So having an involvement fair, if that's at the beginning of the semester, that would be a really great time to show your presence on campus, maybe doing some tabling, a bake sale, something where you can introduce yourself to the students coming through, maybe talking to orientation and seeing if your club can be represented or organization can be represented at orientation. Is there sporting events that you can be represented at? Again, thinking about that one, we definitely want to catch any new or transfer students who are coming in. Beginning of semesters are really a high time where recruitment is huge. But always be, talking about your org year round, looking for membership year round. And then last but not least, 5, where will you recruit? Again, comes down to really importance. There are certain areas that are going to be on campus that are really great to recruit in. Definitely Ringwa being one of them, the food places. Those are going to be the high traffic areas. Definitely think of high traffic. So again, sporting events. Is there a day on campus where there's going to be a lot of traffic coming through? Maybe it's like a preview day where students are coming onto campus. Just think about those high traffic areas of campus and where you can set up and where you can rent a table essentially through that building. So did you answer yes to all 5 of these questions? then you're in a good spot. That means that you're making really good efforts with your organization. If you think that some of your members aren't able to answer all of these questions, then I would definitely go back through, put this topic of recruitment on an agenda, really make sure that you're clear on how you're answering all of these questions, so that everybody is giving the same, clear and concise and easily understood message, and that everyone knows what that is. So moving into some tips and tricks for recruiting. Number one, use a theme. Themes are great. People love to do themes things, especially around different holidays or around different seasons. I've seen stuff like spring into the new year and, you know, bounce into fun with us or something. There's a lot of different creativity out there that you can be putting into using a theme. And if you can hand out candy or food or do a bake sale that has cute related items, anything to kind of draw their attention in. I always say it's a good time where if you have a lot of like dorm decorations or just decorations in your own home, bring those in and set those up on your table. The more visually appealing a table is, the more someone's going to probably want to come and check it out. Of course, anytime you can give away something, do like any type of game or activity, by colored theme suckers, and they can pull them out. And then maybe if they have a certain like color on the bottom, they get a certain thing with it. Lots of different areas you can be done there. You can also make sure that you're being active on campus ongoing. So we talked a lot about this. Look at what's going on, look at the campus calendar, plan your recruitment events around those events. If there's already a lot of traffic coming to campus that day, or if there is a concert happening where students are going to be at, again, sporting events are a big one. That's a great time to be active in recruiting, telling campus about your org, while they're waiting in line for something, while they're waiting for an event to start. Use that time to your advantage to recruit new members. Also make sure to take advantage of promotional opportunities that your campus may or that Edgewood may have. So definitely looking into like, is there a paper? Is there an online blog? Where are you connecting with different social medias around campus? Are you asking different social medias like the SI or OSI office to make sure that they're promoting your events for you? And well, not for you, but that you're helping them help you promote your events. So sending flyers their way, giving them blurbs to use about what's going on so that they can help promote you. And then make sure when you are tabling, you're active at your table. A lot of the mistakes I see organizations make is they sit at their table and they just sit there. They want people to just walk up to them. That can be really intimidating. It can be scary. Humans are not going to always want to push out of their way. Not everyone has a really great outgoing personality. Sometimes they have a really great introverted personality that, stops them from wanting to know what's happening at that table. So definitely, reaching out, asking if they want this, offering what your service or what you're there for, getting up, standing up if the space allows, getting out in front of it, handing something out is just great. It also really makes good use of the next tip, which is snapping and sharing photos. Please make sure to always ask any people you have in photos that A, you can take it in the first place, and B, that you're allowing or they allow it to go on social media. Most of the times I say, if you're just doing general body pitch or crowd pictures and no one's faces are appearing in them, that's typically okay, but definitely check first anytime you can. We always want to make sure we're getting consent before we're posting, but take pictures of your members. Take pictures of them out in front of that booth, take a group shot together, make sure you're actively posting that on social media, go live for a little bit on what's happening or why you're there. Anytime you can have that presence on social media and let people know what you're doing is great. Those photos also can be used as Presence comes to campus this next year. You will be able to have photos that you can use on your page so that when people are searching you, especially new incoming students, they can see, oh, look at that person. Maybe I have this class with them, or maybe I've seen them in my dorm. They really helps put that face to what your organization is. So definitely make sure too to always have easy, accessible information. That group of people who are walking by who maybe don't want to stop when you're tabling or when you're doing other recruitment efforts, have a small flyer to hand out. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but something that they can grab if they're interested in it. Then they have that information. You can always lay them out. People can take them if they want, but I've definitely found that it's more likely if you take a piece of candy and staple it to your sheet that tells you, what your org is, when you're meeting, where they can find you, how they can connect with you. They are going to be much more happy to take that with a piece of candy than just take a random sheet of paper. So definitely have been a great tip for that recruiting and spreading that information about your org. Another tip would be to co-sponsor efforts. So if you have friends that are in other organizations, if you have friends that are in other departments on campus, other people that are doing things, co-sponsor your events together. It could be an event, it could be a program, it could just be talking about the greatness of each other's areas. Hey, check out this organization, they're doing this really cool thing, and then have the other organization do that in reverse for you. We want each organization is unique. They do a lot of great things. We should definitely just be working to support each other and everything that's going on, and that partnership could lead to later on sponsorship through other events or partnerships and events where maybe they split cost of it or can help just bring what you're doing to campus to the next level. So this one should go without being said, but obviously a good tip is being welcoming and exciting. Again, that goes back to don't just sit behind your table, make sure you're making eye contact, that you're asking people how they're doing. Sometimes just starting with something as simple as that, like, hey, how's it going today? Or, making a general comment about people love to talk about the weather in Wisconsin, or talking about something that's upcoming, or, like, hey, how's your weekend coming? Or did you have nice weekend? Kind of going back to customer service skills, just being approachable, welcoming anybody. Nobody wants to join something where you're not being welcome. We want to be accepted. We want to be invited. So definitely work towards those. And that might not be everyone's strength. So I would definitely suggest when you are having recruitment, if you have people who have the personality types that tend to be, again, maybe they tend to be a little bit more extroverted. They get a lot of energy from talking to people. It's a really good skill set that they have, and maybe they have that experience working in customer service. Don't just put someone at the table because they are the one who has the availability. I mean, that's going to do something, but really try to schedule your recruitment efforts around those who can be really successful for your org, who can help be that welcoming environment for them, and that want to do that. And then another tip would be using testimonials. Testimonials are a great way in recruitment. If a student hears from another student what that org did for them, or how they developed a sense of belonging, a community, a friendship, whatever that might be, testimonials are great. So using those on social media, using those on your, having just one maybe on a print material when you hand out the recruitment, having small videos recorded, and being able to share those and show students like, hey, this is what these students got out of it, or hey, this is what I get out of it personally. That also helps identify, is this going to be the best group for me? Is this where I'm going to find, again, that sense of belonging on campus? And then last but not least, follow-up is key. So we always want to make sure that if you are collecting email addresses, that you actually are emailing then the students who are interested. If you're collecting email addresses are the easiest ones because that's realistically how we contact a lot of people on campus. But you can also have people follow you on social media at time of. If they follow you on social media, maybe then they can partake in some candy. Is a great way to get that interest. But then post and be like, hey, to all of you who started to follow us, or to any new potential members, we were excited to meet you. We're excited to have you come to our first meeting. You can say this in your email as well, but just really making sure that you're following through with people, again, where they want to know that they're invited, they want to know that they are wanted in that organization. We need to do everything possible to show them that so that they can become long-term members of your org. So moving into retention, first and foremost, you should always ask yourself, do you have a retention committee or position in your organization? If you don't, I would suggest making it official. Retention is huge. It's how the functionality of your org is going to continue. Without members, again, happy members that are staying, that find the org impactful to their time on campus, that's who's going to keep the org moving. That's who's going to be the next president, the next treasurer. That's who's going to continue it on after you graduate. So make it make it official, have a retention position is where I usually suggest starting, or if your org is bigger and has been developed for a while, do a retention committee, get people together and talk about what are your efforts look like, how have they been going, where should they go, where should it be focused on. You really want to invest in your membership and retention activities for that longevity again. So moving into the retention tips and tricks, first and foremost, don't rely on food to keep people around. I see a lot of organizations who say like, hey, come check us out, we have free pizza, or we're doing this as a handout. Maybe there's a candy you're handing out or something. Free food is great. People will definitely probably come for that, but they won't stay for that. They're definitely, if there's something else that's pressing that is at the same time as your general body meeting, they might choose to do that other thing because they're like, oh, they're always going to hand out free pizza. I can come whenever. It's great to do it as a retention, like a thank you to your membership, like, hey, end of the year pizza party, or even as like a welcoming party, like, hey, come check us out, see what we're about, doing an ice cream social. But definitely don't just continue to rely on it, because you really want to make sure you're focusing on those connections, those friendships, the relationship building. Again, going back to that, do I matter? Do they want me here? And really relying on the relationship building is huge. You want any new members to stay because they feel like a valid part of your org community and not just that they're coming to get free pizza. Next tip is don't lie. Do what you promised or deliver on what you promise. This one is going to be huge just in general. I mean, no one likes to be lied to. No one should be lying in your group. It's definitely the stressors of school are real and can be huge. So there's definitely a difference of, you just time didn't permit or something didn't happen, but then always email and check in. Like, if you said that you were going to have this list coming out to sign up for a volunteer opportunity and it doesn't come out in time, then, email them and say, hey, I am working on it. It's going to be, a few days late, but know that it's still coming and have that touch point communication. But don't say like, oh, if you come and join our org, we're always going to have the most rad, super cool, awesome time, because that might not always be true. Sometimes, those meetings are just going to be like managerial office type meetings, like, hey, we have to have this planning meeting, or hey, we really need to go over a constitution to ratify it. So it's not always going to be this super cool, awesome time. So just be honest, open. If you do say that you're going to commit to something, follow through on it, and then don't overpromise either. It's okay to not overpromise. You don't have to be flashy about things. Just be real on what your mission of your organization is, what your group hopes to accomplish, and then you can always talk about too, like, where are different components that maybe the new members can join in to help in that process and to help alleviate some of that pressure from committing or doing everything yourself or just with your e-board. Which leads into the next one, though. Don't overcommit new members. So new members have such good energy a lot of times. They get super excited, they're really cool. They found this group. They feel like they're connecting, which is awesome. But a lot of times our new members, not always, but new members a lot of times tend to be first-year students or transfer students. They're just figuring out classes. They're figuring out the Edgewood campus. And making a lot of commitments without understanding what your full semester looks like can be really a real problem that happens. And two, there's a lot of people who, we really want to people please a lot of the times as humans. So it's hard to sometimes to say no, especially you want to be liked, you want to be accepted. So have that good understanding in your e-board, in your leadership positions, to make sure, a new member wants to commit to something great, but maybe just do one task at a time, or one thing at a time. Let them commit to volunteering first on something versus heading a committee that's putting a program together, an event together. And then the one thing you do want to do is let members assist with impactful choices. So if members feel like it's always just leadership or an e-board that is doing something and they don't have a say in the group, then that's going to create quite a divide between members. It's definitely important to understand that all of us as leaders, especially leaders in the e-board positions, are going to they're going to be making some of the bigger choices in the organizations, but you can always take an input or have a, put topics on a meeting agenda so that everyone can have a say on what their opinion is. You can use the voting system to vote on different areas, and make sure, if you're choosing who as a speaker you want to bring to campus, make sure everyone gets their person that they want to bring in, and then maybe they might not request someone to come, but they might, be like, hey, we're interested in this person, this person, this person. Please, go and look them up, and then we're going to hold a vote in a week to see who we want to bring. Sometimes that comes down to cost, of course. Sometimes it comes down to others who you're bringing in's calendars, and we can't always plan for that. But it's always good to make sure that members are helping with impactful choices or being included in that choice. No one wants to feel left out. They're there to be a part of a community. So kind of like with the start of your recruitment, you do want to make sure your meetings are enjoyable and welcoming. The good thing to go by is if the meeting could happen in an email, probably shouldn't be a meeting. So make sure they're having components, adding in icebreakers, adding in some team bonding activities or different activities you can do together now in this online world that we're living in from doing a lot of work from home. Do things like maybe someone has a Jackbox game that they bought that everyone can participate in. Maybe you can make a simple Kahoot and you can all do a Kahoot together. There's a lot of different online games now. There's a lot of different ways to still connect together to make your meetings enjoyable. And I think right now it's really important to understand that it's okay to not be business all the time, that it's great to just socialize with each other, since a lot of us are lacking that in our day-to-days right now. The next tip would be creating work buddies. So this would go back to, not overcommitting. A great way to not overcommit a new member would be create a work buddy. So have someone who is a seasoned member or on your leadership team that partners up with a new member and, can check in with them. How's this going? Can be a reference point like, oh, you come across this. Well, this is how we've done it in the past. This is the resources we've used. This is who we've reached out to this department. Especially someone who's new on campus, they might not know what resources are available to them. They might not know the culture of Edgewood College. They might not know that, there's a huge commuting population, and how do you reach the commuting population with your events and programs? Is that the best time to do it at 8 p.m.? Or have the commuter students already gone home for the day, so maybe you should move your event up to 2 p.m. so that those living on campus and off campus can both attend. So creating those work buddies can give them a touch point for information, to help them make sure that they're not becoming overwhelmed, to check in with them to make sure they're doing great, and also hold a sense of responsibility too. We don't want to just assume that every new member is going to produce the best and greatest work ever. So making sure that there's someone there that can oversee and know that work is still getting done is a good one too. So the next tip would be checking in with each other virtually. So I talked about doing games together, doing onlines, but just doing your check-ins. Online meetings now, a lot of us are using WebEx, Zoom, or other platforms, but making sure that you're still meeting in times. It definitely is hard to adjust to a schedule, to focus on your homework and do other things, but still checking in with each other is the best way to keep your retention. And what we don't want to see happen is, the semester is going to end. It's going to be summer. A lot of times orgs aren't as active over the summer times because a lot of us are back home or not living on campus anymore. And then we come back to fall semester. We still don't know what fall semester is going to look like, so this could still be very pertinent in fall semester. But you want to stay connected just to have that connection point for an org, but we also want to make sure that when we do come back onto campus that, y'all have been keeping up with each other, you've checked in, you have great ideas. This could be a great time to do planning, evaluating, go back to your other, what have you done before? Get the members who have been there for a while, get them active and engaged again. Talk about like, hey, what was one thing that our org has done that was your favorite? Why was it your favorite? And start breaking those down and seeing what you can do. How can we improve upon this? How can we, repeat this if it was a really great event or program? and get ready for the upcoming time when we hopefully soon we'll move back on campus again. Maybe not fall, maybe, but hopefully in sometime still in 2020, right? Uh, the next one would be building that sense of community. So I think a lot of the ones we've been talking about touches on this, but really having that community to come to, having a great question, a great way to start a meeting is having a check-in question. So doing like a high-low question of your week, or I do like a lot of rosebud thorns, which a rose is a good thing, thorn is a bad thing, a bud is something you're looking forward to. Taking the time for people to talk about what they're going through, what their weeks are looking like, is just a great way to feel unity and feel like they're being heard. So that's a generally easy thing that most orgs can do to build that sense of community, but community is more than that. So having those touch points, checking in with each other, continuing to support, continuing to work together and still, do fun things like online games together, to still, planning for your future. Just anything you can do to keep feeling like they have, that all of you have still what you're working on, that you're still functioning as an org, just in a little bit difference of the sense. And then we talked about it in recruitment, but follow-up is necessary. So always follow up, should be still sending out your meeting notes after your meetings, making sure, if you can plan some stuff, if you can do online programming is great. I've seen a lot of orgs that I work with down at UW Whitewater they're holding online. Actually, our Active Minds group just did a like an online poetry type thing. So they focus on mental health, and they had different members and folks that they've worked with before record poems, record written word, and different things, and they uploaded those onto their YouTube channel. And then they shared that with campus, which was a great way, again, to build the community. It was something enjoyable that they all wanted to work on. It was a great way to have that connection. But it was definitely something that they were following up on doing the work as an organization. So as a group that was super active, they wanted to follow up with their members to make sure, hey, what do you want to do? What does this look like now with us online? And that was just one example of what they're doing. But just in general, when you're back on campus, follow up is just great for knowing, like, did this get done? How are these groups functioning? If you have that retention committee, if you have a PR person, if you have a volunteer service coordinator, checking in. A lot of times it's a president or vice president who is going to follow up on these. But just having that touch point meeting, and again, this could be the part of the meeting that isn't the most fun. So maybe it could be an email that everyone responds to. I just know that not everyone always responds. So taking maybe 5-10 minutes at the end of your meeting to do a follow-up, and to know who is going to do that follow-up, assigning a specific person to do that as well. And then last but not least, the goal is to really, with retention, is to feel needed and missed. Everybody who is in an organization, they want to feel a part of it. They want to feel like they're contributing. They want to know that if they're not there, that org is missing them. So it's a great way there's a lot of ways that go into this bullet point, but doing end of year thank you cards. There's a lot of sites that you can do free online cards. You could send up to like 20 or 30 of them for free. If that works for the membership of your group, great. If your membership's bigger than that, then maybe doing a quick couple videos, TikToks or Instagram 1-minute videos of people thanking your leadership team or e-board, thanking the members of your organization. That's just one way to help them feel like they're a part of that org, that they're needed. You can also do, if your org chose to be not really active in the rest of this time, then maybe make sure that you are touching base. I totally lost my train of thought there. But again, goal is to feel needed, to feel missed. That's the best part. So that does conclude our presentation on retention and recruiting members 101. So again, please, phone is not the most achievable thing for us right now. So any questions, email us at osi@edgewood.edu. And thank you so much for joining us.